The story we're diving into today unfolds in the bustling city of Seattle, a vibrant metropolis in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Known for its thriving coffee culture and friendly locals, this city is the second largest in the region. But in 1985, a string of bizarre and brutal murders shattered its peaceful reputation, leaving residents questioning whether Seattle, the welcoming haven they knew, was still safe. Who was the shadowy figure lurking in the darkness, orchestrating these horrors? Let's rewind to the summer of 1985. On June 17th, a typical Monday, in the rural outskirts of Snohomish County, just northeast of Seattle, a farmer was wrapping up his day in the fields. As he made his way home, he passed through a dense bamboo grove. Something caught his eye, a cardboard box tucked near the edge of the trees. Curiosity piqued. He approached and cautiously opened it. What he saw inside was beyond comprehension. A human body, dismembered into multiple pieces. The sight and the stench hit him like a freight train, leaving him trembling and dizzy. He bolted to the nearest payphone and dialed the police in a panic. The Snohomish County Sheriff's Office arrived swiftly. The victim was a woman, roughly 20 years old, her body severed into 6 parts: head, torso, and limbs. This wasn't just a murder. It was a calculated act of mutilation. A special task force was assembled immediately. Forensic experts examined the remains and found undigested sushi rice in her stomach, suggesting she'd eaten shortly before her death. Bruises on her neck indicated she'd been strangled, a violent prelude to her gruesome fate. The time of death was estimated to be between 4 o'clock and 6 p.m. the previous day. Using missing persons records, the police identified her as Emily Carter, a student at a specialized school in Seattle for individuals with intellectual disabilities. 2 months earlier, Emily had slipped out of her dorm, telling a friend she was heading to a laundromat in Tacoma for a vocational training program. She never returned. The next day, her school reported her missing. Despite her cognitive challenges, Emily was cherished by her family, who were devastated to learn of her savage end. Limited forensic technology in 1985 stalled the investigation, and no significant leads emerged. 3 months later, the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office received an odd letter, postmarked from Everett, a city north of Seattle. It was addressed to the sheriff in bold black ink. On the back, written with a ruler for precision, were the words "Phantom of 22 Faces." The sheriff's mind raced to a case from over a year earlier, the infamous Green River killer spree that began in 1984. That killer had drawn inspiration from a fictional character, the Phantom of 20 Faces, created by a renowned mystery writer. The similarities were chilling. The letter's author brazenly claimed the title Phantom of 22 Faces, taunting the police with an arrogant tone. It detailed the murder of Emily Carter. On June 16, 1985, at 2 p.m., the killer encountered her near Pioneer Square in Seattle. Noting her youthful beauty and apparent vulnerability, he lured her to a sushi joint. After the meal, he took her to his apartment, assaulted her, and offered her $68, about 10,000 yen, as compensation. When she seemed upset, his rage erupted. He pinned her down, strangled her with both hands, and, after she stopped breathing, dismembered her with a kitchen knife and saw. The next day, he rented a car, stuffed her remains into a cardboard box, and dumped it in the bamboo grove in Snohomish County. These specifics, locations, and methods matched details the police had kept under wraps, confirming the letter came from a killer. The task force speculated this could be tied to the Green River killer, though it might also be a copycat. Surveillance footage from near Pioneer Square showed Emily with a middle-aged man at the sushi restaurant, but the busy venue left staff unable to recall his face. Emily was known to frequent bars and nightlife spots, so the police compiled a suspect list of over 500 men. One, James Larson, sent a letter claiming innocence, attaching a used train ticket from Seattle to Portland. Fingerprint analysis showed partial matches with the Phantom letter, but not enough for a definitive link. The trail went cold. Then, 9 years later, on April 4th, 1994, in King County near Seattle, a couple foraging for mushrooms in a bamboo thicket noticed an odd mound. Digging with their shovels, they uncovered a partially decomposed body, head and limbs severed, chest and lower body hollowed out in a barbaric display. The King County Sheriff's Office arrived, and the scene eerily echoed Emily Carter's case. The next day, 150 meters north near a road, they found another victim, reduced to a skeleton, cut with a saw. Both were women, around 40 years old, suggesting a serial predator was at work. The second victim was identified as Laura Bennett, 45, a bar hostess from Capitol Hill in Seattle. Her job meant her absence wasn't immediately reported. Only after weeks of silence did co-workers alert the authorities. For months later, the first victim was named, Rachel Evans, 38, a beloved dinner owner in downtown Seattle who also sold vintage clothing. Her disappearance was chalked up to a spontaneous trip, until now. The police merged the three cases into the Seattle dismemberment murders, a high-priority investigation labeled case number 122 by the National Crime Agency. Only the most heinous crimes earned such a designation, like the Hillside Strangler case years ago. But media attention was elsewhere, fixated on a chemical attack in New York that dominated headlines, leaving these murders in the shadows. A breakthrough came when police reviewed past offenders in Seattle. In 1994, a clothing factory in downtown Seattle reported a theft. A man stole 78 pairs of khakis from a warehouse. Security footage showed him casually strolling out, glancing at the camera without a hint of guilt. Workers didn't notice until inventory checks revealed the loss. That April, Thomas Hayes, 54, was arrested in a Seattle apartment. Neighbors were stunned. He was a friendly, unassuming man who'd grown up in Boise, Idaho. Thomas claimed his father was a wealthy hotel magnate, but the family fell apart after his death. Dropping out of high school, he moved to Seattle for culinary training, married, and had 2 children. After his wife died, he remarried a bar worker, but the union lasted a month, allegedly due to family tensions. To survive, Thomas sold cheap, quality clothing from a street stall, earning the nickname Tommy among loyal female customers. With his white terrier perched on his bike, he was a local fixture, hardly a criminal mastermind. Yet those close to him knew a darker side. His father was no tycoon, just a disposable chopstick peddler. His second marriage ended not from step-family strife, but from his violent outbursts. He beat his wife, and his kids begged him to stop. After the divorce, he abandoned them, shacking up with a mistress. Quick-tempered and prone to choking people in fits of rage, he was a pariah among restaurateurs. His clothing? Stolen from lax warehouses, sold on the black market near Pike Place. Thomas had a rap sheet, arrested in 1989 and 1991 for theft, then again in 1993. During the Emily Carter probe, he sent an anonymous letter denying guilt. Advanced fingerprint tech later revealed a bombshell. His prints matched both that letter and the Phantom of 22 Faces taunt. Thomas Hayes confessed. He was behind Emily's murder and the 1994 killings. Rental car records aligned at the dump sites, and he recalled every detail. In July 1993, at Capitol Hill Diner, he met Laura Bennett. Flashing cash, he lured her to his place. When she asked about payment mid-encounter, he snapped, strangled her, dismembered her, and dumped her in King County. 8 months later, he seduced Rachel Evans, a barmaid, with promises of cheap designer coats. When she demanded the lot for free, he killed her too, leaving her remains near the prior site. Suspicion grew. Confronted with a photo of a young girl, Thomas nodded grimly. Sophie Miller, 19, a junior at the Seattle Visual Art School, crossed his path in May 1987. Posing as a lost stranger, he gave her $1 to thank her for directions. Her innocence sparked his twisted desire. He abducted her, assaulted her in his apartment, and strangled her as she screamed for help. Too small to dismember, he stuffed her into a box, but his greed didn't stop. He extorted her family and school for $200,000, making 5 chilling calls. The plot thickened. 2 weeks before Emily, in May 1985, he met Margaret Foster, 46, a bar hostess in ball gown, a housewife who'd fled an unhappy marriage. She fell for his big brother, Act. After dinner at his place, she urged him to slow his drinking. Enraged by her concern, he choked her, dismembered her, and dumped her in a forest near Olympia. Her skeleton, found in 1995, bore the same brutal marks. Her husband had reported her missing, but the case languished for a decade. In May 1995, Thomas Hayes was arrested for murder. On October 25th, the King County District Court split the cases into 2 trials under U.S. law. Group A, Margaret, Emily, Sophie, and Group B, Laura, Rachel, plus thefts. All victims, save Sophie, worked or frequented nightlife spots, killed in their apartments, then discarded in remote areas. Moving 20 times in 9 years, he dodged detection until his confession. In May 1996, 11 years after his first kill, Thomas faced trial. He flipped his story, claiming innocence. The ransom calls? Someone else. The murders? A friend's doing. He just cleaned up. He blamed police coercion and amnesia for his thefts. No friend was found, but voice analysis of Sophie's ransom calls showed only 10 of 121 traits matching his voice, casting doubt. In 1999, he was convicted but appealed. In July 2005, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld his death sentence. In prison, he ranted, "The state bans murder but executes people. That's the real crime." He maintained his innocence, even as Alzheimer's set in. On May 25th, 2016, at 75, Thomas Hayes was executed at Walla Walla State Penitentiary. The Seattle dismemberment murders, a saga of savagery and deception, finally closed, leaving a city to reckon with a monster it once called Tommy.